Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest cryptocurrency channel in all the interwebs. My name's TJ. I'll be your host for today's show of Around the Blockchain. I'll be joined by some of our favorite guests, experts, personalities, and people from all over the interwebs. Today, we've got yours truly, Ben Armstrong from BitBoy Crypto, Hoshoshi from the other top YouTube channel. We've got Justin ATX joining us, and Justin Williams from our own NFT division here today to talk about the big pressing news and burning questions on everybody's mind. We're going to talk a little bit about Dogecoin having a major pump today, some altcoins that we think can outperform Bitcoin over the next 6 months, as well as NFTs and where we think they're going to go in the future. And will there be a bear market? We hear a lot of people saying that we don't think we're going to hit a bear market this year because we're going to go into a super cycle. We've got diamond hands in play now, people that are never going to sell their crypto. So we're just going to jump right in, talk to all our guests, and let's hear from Ben first. Ben, which top altcoins do you feel like will outperform Bitcoin over the next several months? I know we talk about a little different things on the channels every day, but I'd like to hear your perspective, just maybe 3 or 4 of your best picks.
Yeah, I think when it comes to altcoins outperforming Bitcoin right now, you have to look for coins that have a lot of upside, a lot of potential, but maybe haven't, is only to say, busted their proverbial nut yet. So if you look at something like Ethereum right now, it's on a huge, massive run up. I still think the upside for Ethereum is bigger than the upside of Bitcoin for this current run. But then if you look at something like Dogecoin, which I know we'll talk about here in a little bit, like how much further can Dogecoin really go past, to outperform Bitcoin? Because if we think Bitcoin is going to go to 6 figures and well above that, I think around 300K, then for Dogecoin to perform the same, you'd have to be looking at it going up to like $3 or something like that. So probably not going to happen. But I'm looking at, Cardano and Ethereum are definitely two projects I believe will outperform Bitcoin for the rest of this run up. I think we've actually got a video later tonight on the channel about Elrond. I think Elrond had a big, massive run up, and now it's corrected. It's had consolidation. I think that's definitely another project that I'm looking at. And then I still think VeChain has so much upside. VeChain is definitely another one that I'm, betting all my chips on. Is a definite winner for the rest of this bull run. And then I like Solana as well. It did have a massive run up. I think it's going to have quite a bit of a pullback, but I think we're just seeing the beginning of what Solana is going to do.
Yeah, great points. And leaning heavy towards smart contract platforms, it sounds like, with the exception of VeChain, which is blockchain.
Yeah. Well, I think that. I think just one point very quickly. One of the reasons why I really like VeChain is because it doesn't really have competitors. So we look at the smart contract space, a lot of competitors pushing it forward. And then VeChain is just so far out in front of all its competitors. So that, they both are, I think it's a good pick as well, even though it doesn't have the same push from competitors.
Great point. And Hoshoshi, I know you're a big ADA fan yourself. What altcoins are you looking at over the next several months?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously some of the picks that Ben mentioned, right? Elrond, there's so much stuff going on in that space right now. Their tech foundations are solid. Cardano's in the same boat. Both projects now are sort of coming up on new features. For Elrond, Maiar Exchange, a bunch of cool features there. For Cardano, you've got smart contract support with the Alonzo fork. There's a lot of exciting stuff there. But I still think from a tech perspective, that's the lens I look at stuff from. Interoperability is a huge component of the future of crypto, even beyond this, this cycle, if that's what you believe in. So Polkadot, Cosmos, to an extent, Icon, a lot of projects that are working on bridging the gap between these protocols, I think are going to be huge because they're critical to the future adoption of the tech.
Yeah, great point. J-Chains, what are your thoughts?
I agree pretty much wholeheartedly with what Ben and Hoshoshi. Specifically, like when you look at some of these projects or really the industry that they are in, VeChain, supply chain, like Ben said, there's no competition really there. And you have to think, market cap for supply chain itself is huge. And so without any competition, if that's the way that it goes, it really is going to be, it's got a lot of legs to run, that's for sure. When you look at some other projects, for example, like, maybe KuCoin shares or something like that, or KuCoin, that's an exchange token that has not really pumped yet. I mean, $20. I mean, now that they've got the KuCoin community chain, I think that there's a lot of room for that one to run as well. So, I've positioned myself, much like the rest of us have, in a lot of these altcoins. I'm not a maximalist, and how I believe the industry is going to perform is really where I hedge my bets. That's for sure.
And Justin Williams, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I took some. I look at like past performance. I look at something like Litecoin, which is like an OG, and Stellar Lumens. Both of those coins have yet to even meet their previous all-time highs from the previous cycle. Mm-hmm. And so I love like tech and all that, but I think at the market we're in right now, it's still a lot of hype driven and news driven, like as far as like, community driven, throw your money into something easy off of Coinbase. And those two coins for sure, I mean, they haven't even reached their previous. So I think they're going to meet it and then surpass it. I mean, Stellar was 80 cents back in 2017 and 18. So it's sitting at like 52 or something right now. So I can definitely see that at least getting to 80, maybe even doubling that to 160 or $2.
So real quick, if you had to pick one coin to ride out for the rest of this bull market and go all, like say you had 10 grand to put all in on one project for the rest of this cycle, what's your pick, Ben?
Ooh, I am going to, that is a tough question because there's so many good ones. But if you were to really break down, I tell you what, I'm gonna go a little off the wall here. I'm gonna drive TJ crazy here.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if I had $10,000 and I wanted to do a super risky play,
yeah,
but something that I could ride out with that would have massive gains, I mean, XRP. I mean, if they're able to shake this SEC lawsuit, you look at the upside for what's going to happen when that floodgate were to break. I mean, it also, like Stellar and like Litecoin, hasn't even come close to touching its all-time highs. Mm-hmm. It's actually lagging far behind those, right. Only at about 50% of its all-time high or so. So XRP would be a one, but it's risky because if the SEC lawsuit goes the other way, obviously it'll get crushed.
Right. No, that's a good point. And kind of like what Justin Williams was talking about, you're kind of eyeing some of these older projects that we've got a little bit of history and data points to know what they do kind of when the blow off top comes. So it's interesting to hear the mix of new projects and new tech like Solana and DOT that a couple of you guys mentioned, as well as XRP and Stellar. So with that, we were talking about the cycles. We got a lot of questions in this morning's live streams saying they don't think there will be a bear market, or asking, will there be a bear market? Everybody's talking about diamond hands and institutions coming in and they're just going to buy it and hold it forever. Do you guys agree with that sentiment, or do you think we're going to see a major 50+% correction at some point in the near future, or some point in the future? We'll start with Hashoshi on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at history, right, there hasn't been just a period of straight bull market forever, right? And I don't know that even with institutions, even with large whales with diamond hands, that you can ever rest on your laurels and say, I can promise you that there will never be a large correction or an extended period of time where we're not trending towards new all-time highs. Though I do think that, to that extent, this time around, there is different, there are different characteristics to look at, right? It might not play out exactly as it has in years past, where we've had extended bear markets, but I don't think that we could say that we will just get away with not having one. And folks should be thinking about their strategy in terms of, taking profits, having cash ready for when those days come.
Yeah, great point. Justin, ATX, what are your thoughts? J-Chains.
When I look at it, I kind of can see it from both sides. If you try to compare it, obviously, like Hashoshi said, it's always repeating itself. However, with the crypto market being a little bit more mature, and like you said, we've got more diamond hands, we've got more institutional players in here. I mean, look at the stock market. The stock market went on a 9-year bull run, right? I mean, that is something that is very possible in the crypto market. The more that we see bigger companies get in, and I know we say like, oh, diamond hands and these institutional investors, or these these big time companies like Tesla selling 10% of their share of Bitcoin. I mean, these things can happen, Now, obviously, they played it off. It was a liquidity event just to prove that it's, that they could get back, some of the cash out of it. But, I really don't know, to be honest with you, if we're going to see a correction like we have in the past. I mean, I think it'll go down a little bit, but, 80, 90%, I just don't see that. I see more people getting in. It's becoming more mainstream. You're seeing, the NFT craze and how that's going to translate into the video game world. I mean, I just don't see it going down like it has in the past. Doesn't mean that it can't. I just don't see it maybe for this year.
Yeah, and Justin Williams, thoughts?
Well, I think there's been a lot of money that entered the market, but I think some of these pullbacks that we've seen, 20 and almost 30% pullbacks on just Bitcoin alone, shows that the possibility of the volatility is still there. I mean, the money that's already poured in has been leaving the market just as fast as being poured in. So I agree with I watch the channel, so I can see that, I think the correction won't be as harsh, probably won't be like an 80% correction, might be a 50% correction or a 55% correction, but the volatility is definitely there. I mean, people are going to take profits, and I think the people that are saying they're not going to take the profits, they're lying to you. I mean, companies like Grayscale and, Michael Saylors and all that, they have shareholders to answer to, and they're not going to let 50%, 60%, downside on their investment go away without, with the option of selling being on the table. So, yeah, I think we're definitely going to have a correction.
That's a great point. I mean, we already saw it with Tesla selling 10% of what they purchased. I mean, once it pumps a certain amount and you're billions of dollars in the profit, some of these companies that have this Bitcoin on their balance sheet, they're going to want to see if they can transfer it back to dollars if they need to and make sure the liquidity is still there. And, like you said, take profits if they're there. So we've been talking about a lot of different coins here, some pumpers, a bear market, bull market, but nobody's mentioned kind of the coin of the day. Dogecoin has had a massive pump, not the coin of the day, the coin of the last few months, really, probably one of the best performers here. I mean, it's pretty hilarious. We're all in crypto all the time, looking at all the tech, looking at all the developments, and then Dogecoin, been here the whole time, pumps every bull cycle. It's getting tweeted about by the richest man in the world, yet most crypto experts or people that are in this space all day, every day, kind of want to discount it, but it's been one of the best pumpers. Do you guys think it can actually get to $1, which would be about $100 billion market cap? I think it's sitting around 50 cents right now.
I think it can definitely get to $1. I mean, I don't think there's a question about it at this point. I think that's just a matter of time. Now, how far above $1 can it get? I would argue not very far. I mean, a lot of these guys that have been talking about having the diamond hands with Wall Street Bets and on TikTok and all this, $1 is their target. That's what they're, looking at. And so because of that, I think, for people that are looking to invest in, you got to do that risk versus reward scenario and say, okay, well, right now, if 56 cents, if you put money into it, at best, you're looking probably maybe to about double your money. It's getting dicey right now. But I think the Dogecoin can definitely hit $1. It far exceeded my expectations for this bull run at 25 cents. The first coin that I had a price prediction for this bull run that has actually exceeded it, which is just totally outlandish that that's happened. But I would say, I think that, I bought some Dogecoin over the weekend. It's doing really well, but it's definitely not something I'm looking to, have long-term in my portfolio. It just doesn't have as much value as some of the other coins. But I think at this point, I mean, if anybody who wants to see one of the most interesting things you've ever seen in crypto, go to coinmarketcap.com, click on Dogecoin, and then look at the chart.
Yeah.
It is insane. I've never seen, in all my years in crypto, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. It's...
Go
ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, you just can't underestimate the power of the internet. And, when you get big groups of people together and they say, let's go for it, I mean, they're going to go for it. I mean, you saw it, like you said, with Wall Street Bets. You're seeing it with Dogecoin. The problem is, as we've all been in many years, we know what's going to happen. Someone's going to get left holding the bag. And that's just, when it's going to happen, you don't know. I think it'll get over $1, but then it's just going to shoot straight down.
Yeah. Well, and this is another question that we get a lot. I'm actually interested to hear from Hoshoshi. Do you hold any Doge? Would you hold any Dogecoin? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had some, right? Early on it was just because it was like a novelty thing. It existed, it was a joke, it was funny, and so you get it for like fractions of a penny. Now it's more of a decision that you have to make, right? Do
Hmm.
I think this is gonna go up? When it does, where is my profit strategy, right? Do I go every time it hits an all-time high? Do I cycle some out? That's the big question. But what I do like about Dogecoin and what's going on right now is that this is showing that people, average people, normal people, despite the valuation metrics that might be assigned in, classical cases by Wall Street or whomever else, they can value an asset at whatever value they want, right? This is a true market-driven valuation, not a fundamentals-driven valuation, and I can get behind that from I guess a theoretical level.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I think it's pretty good for the space, even though we hear a lot of people call it a joke, but at this point, I mean, it's a top 10 cryptocurrency. There's no way you can't at least look at it and, like you said, assess it like you would any other asset. So that was something I was going to throw out to you guys. Do you think this is good for the crypto space as it gets out there and like as a good onboarding, or do you think it's detrimental for people that may or may not buy the pump and then get wrecked? Ben, hop in there.
Yeah, it is a good thing I mean, like a lot of people could argue, I'm going to say something that's going to be extremely controversial here. Maybe I shouldn't say this. But I mean, I think there's an argument to be made that, on some level, BitConnect was beneficial for cryptocurrency in terms of it was a scam and it was terrible and people got wrecked. But a lot of people were making money on it and it brought more people into crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people come into crypto, like they're going to get wrecked no matter what. I mean, at first, whether it's they get scammed, they get fished, they, put money into crappy coins, or whether it's just they make all the money and they're doing well and then they lose all their money because they don't understand the market cycle. So I think there's a lot to be said here. I'm not trying to compare Dogecoin to BitConnect, but I'm just saying in 2017, that was a big channel that people used to get into crypto. Though so many people and even YouTubers got sucked into it. YouTubers are still around today. I'm not talking about Trevin James and these other guys. I'm talking about, guys that like Sunny Decree, for instance, that did a video on BitConnect very early on and then realized it was no good and spoke out against it. And that's good. But people saw the expectation of, hey, I can make a lot of money into this. And overall, we probably pulled in good people to the space through that, even though it was a terrible situation. I think Dogecoin is kind of the same. Like, this is the gateway to get people into crypto. And you're getting a lot of people that are going in through Robinhood or other apps that are realizing we are actually learning fundamental lessons about cryptocurrency. Like, you go to Robinhood, you buy Dogecoin, and then you're like, wait, I can't even withdraw this. What the heck do I do? And then you start to figure out, oh, there's different levels of custodianship. And so, I think in a lot of ways, people are learning from Dogecoin. You're going to get some people that are they're going to be a 19-year-old kid on TikTok that throws money into it, watches it goes up. That's his only interest in investing in cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall it is a good thing. And if you're coming in with Dogecoin, and you really start looking around and seeing the other fundamentals about projects that are actually going to make the world better over the long run, I mean, it's a good starting block, because pretty much everything else is better than it. So,
yeah, that's a great point.
I have I have an uncle that called me a couple days ago, and that was his first coin. I mean, because it's like J Chain said, the power of the internet. That is if when you start hearing about cryptocurrency, you either hear about Bitcoin at this point or Dogecoin. I mean, it's on every platform, TikTok, people are making memes about it, jokes about it. So, I mean, I have family members, I have friends, and that's their first coin. And they want to tell me I just bought some Dogecoin, And so I agree. I think it's going to be a huge onboarding for new users and new investors.
Yeah, good point. And so we've got a couple big forks coming up this summer from some of the projects we mentioned. Between Ethereum, we've got the London hard fork, and then we've got Alonzo coming up with Cardano. Some people in the chat are saying, oh, ADA, it's not really doing anything. It's a big dud. It doesn't really have that potential. It's all hype. It's just talk. They don't ever deliver, yada, yada, yada. So there's some big development coming out this summer. I'm interested to hear from you guys. Which one do you think will benefit more from this hard fork? Like, a lot of eyes are on Ethereum for the London fork. A lot of eyes on Cardano to start rolling out smart contracts and dApps and really start seeing that ecosystem take off. Which one do you think will get a bigger rise this summer from those forks being implemented? Hashoshi, I'll let you start with that one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can understand criticism levied towards Cardano in terms of, you know, the time it's taken to ship these major features, right? You look at it in terms of like an on paper comparison, right? You say, well, without smart contracts, how can you compare it to, you know, the Ethereums of the world, for example? But I also think if you look at this from a time scale that's longer than a year or 2 years or 3 years, and you look at it from like a, we want these protocols to run our future, right? We want different options that have been architected in a different way than Ethereum. You want options that are different from each other. And I think Cardano is architected at a software level, at a functional level, very differently than the other options that are out there. So with this Alonzo fork, it's going to be, you know, that last sort of checkbox out there for people right now that have those concerns, that have those criticisms to say, okay, let's see the decentralized application ecosystem that comes out. Let's see if DeFi takes hold. And more importantly, let's see if Cardano can bring in net new crypto users. So it's not just, a lot of projects right now are focused on pulling users away from Ethereum. And in my opinion, that's not going to do as much to move the needle in the crypto space at large than it would be to outreach to developers that are outside, not in crypto, that can build stuff that users will want to use. And those new users will come and join crypto through these new protocols. Like, I think that that's a huge value driver. And so for Cardano, I just think it has room to run in that regard with that new utility that would come from smart contracts. But that's to take nothing away from Ethereum with EIP 1559 that's got all the hype.
Yeah. No, great point. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, if you were to ask me which one of these projects is going to benefit the most from these forks, I don't think that's the right question. I think the question is which one is going to benefit the most during this bull run. Because I think asking the larger question of who's going to benefit from being able to integrate smart contracts into what they're doing. I mean, obviously that's Cardano. Ethereum's already far, advanced that level. That's what's allowed the Ethereum ecosystem to grow to the point where it is. I think during this bull run, I think that the EIP 1559 and the London, hard fork or upgrade that is going to bring in the burning of gas fees, billions of dollars worth of Ethereum is going to be burnt. Like, that's like a dummy duh. Yes. Obviously when you're burning and you're solving one of Ethereum's biggest problems compared to Bitcoin, which is the unlimited supply, it's very obvious in this bull run that is going to have a direct, immediate effect on the price. Now, I don't know if it'll happen the next day, but if you see what happened with the Berlin hard fork, it took about a week, but the gas fees are lower and they're working. So that gives promise that, even a faster timeline for the next upgrade leading into E2.0, which won't be launched for a couple of years, 100%. But when it comes to the larger time frame of Cardano and integrating smart contracts and what that's going to allow them to do to build their ecosystem, I mean, that's a bigger fundamental shift in what they're doing. And so that's, without that, what is the ecosystem going to be? I mean, this is going to allow so much. People are going to be building tokens on top of Cardano, and there's going to be so much there that's going to be beneficial for Cardano over the long run. And that is what is going to allow us to figure out if Cardano can actually compete with Ethereum about 4 years from now. So, that's where I stand on it. I think immediately, for the price, immediate rise, I think it is going to be Ethereum and the London hard fork. But overall, I think the Cardano, the next phase of their roadmap being, fully integrated is going to be a bigger deal.
Yeah, great points. And I feel like Charles is almost one of those guys that's kind of like, he truly is in it for the tech, where Ethereum, most of their design and upgrades seems fairly focused on things that can help the price appreciate and lock
Cash
up.
grab.
Yeah, well, lock up a lot of high, DeFi projects where you need a lot of security. You need to lock up a lot of liquidity and value on that blockchain, where Cardano's more focused on, low fees and dApps and, underserved areas that it might be not as economically incentivized to go after, but it could have a greater effect long term. So I think their focus points are a little bit different, I would say. That's
you have to think. I mean, it's make or break at time for Cardano as far as that's concerned. Because if they don't come out with something that wows people and it increases the the usability and scalability of it, people are just going to say, I'm kind of done with this. Because I think that's been the biggest complaint with Cardano over the years was, what does it actually do?
Yeah, well, I think they both need these forks to go well. I think if Cardano flubs it and takes too long, again, I think people are going to lose interest and start moving on to some of the other things we mentioned here, like DOT and Solana. Cosmos was also mentioned. And the same with Ethereum. If they don't nail this hard fork, then they could be in a lot of trouble too, because it has to go perfectly. Now, everything we've seen from both projects seems like, like Ben mentioned, we're seeing the effects of the last hard fork for Ethereum. The fees are coming down. Like it's working. Everything they've done is working. So assuming they can pull it off again, we should see some pretty good price appreciation. And there's no reason to think Cardano won't deliver what they're saying they're going to deliver. So I think they both have very bright futures over the next several months, and it should be a pretty good summer. So we're right at 30 minutes right now. I don't know if you guys have a closing thought you want to leave with the audience for next time, but we're trying to keep this tight. So if you want to give us like a 1 minute closing thought on, what people can expect in the future, Ben, take it away.
Yeah, I would say right now, obviously the price of Bitcoin is not doing what we thought it was going to do today. I know a lot of people got wrecked. I got wicked out on a trade. Definitely was when I set my stop loss, I was like, it'll never go that far. And then, of course, it did. So you guys just be careful out there trading. Remember, crypto is unpredictable, and that's both on the micro level and on the macro level. On a daily basis, we see crazy candles. We see things that are, absolutely nuts we never thought would happen. But then on the larger scale, like, you have to remember, take profits when things are good, because it won't always be good. So I would just say to everybody, remember that, crypto's unpredictable. That's actually the thing that we really like about it. That allows the volatility for the upside. So, just be careful trading out there. Don't get wrecked.
And Hashoshi?
Yeah, I mean, I would follow on what Ben said too, right? Up front, it's having a plan, having a strategy, setting yourself, places where you want to take profits so that you have resources when those unpredictable days of volatility carry you down into prices you didn't think you'd see. And secondarily too, I think that, from my perspective, looking at a lot of projects, I think it's really easy to get sucked into the, this project to succeed means that this project has to fail. Whereas I think there's actually a lot more things out there that make these projects different and uniquely valuable to each other in collaboration. And if the goal is to adopt decentralized tech, that should be a focus in my mind.
Great point. Justin Williams?
Yeah, I'll take a page out of Crypto Face's book, especially now that a bunch of new investors are coming to the market. There's, it doesn't go up and to the right. There's a lot of oscillation, and a lot of people get shaken out at the bottom of an oscillation, and then they FOMO back in at the top. And so I'll tell people that are calling me now, friends and family, you got to think like 3 months from now where you think the price is going to be. And don't get shaken out from the oscillation and the ups and downs on the way there. And so when I can put my mind there, it kind of helps me, with my investing and holding.
There you go. And Justin, ATX or J-Chains, last thought.
Absolutely. I would absolutely agree with, everything everybody said here. If there's advice that, you want to live by, it's don't get married to your bags, because, things are going to change. Don't chase pumps, because, like Justin Williams said, is there are oscillations. It will go up, it will go down. So just time your entries right and be a smart trader if that's what you're doing. If you're a hodler, just keep hodling, get those diamond hands, and let's go. The summer should be good. So hold on tight.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us here today. If you want to hear more from Hashoshi, please go check out his YouTube channel. We'll put a link down in the description below. He's a great guy, does a lot of really good reviews and tech, and just a great channel to follow. We'll be back here tomorrow with new guests and new questions. So if you have anybody you'd like to see on the show or any questions you want to hear us cover, please send us an email to atbshow@bitboycrypto.com, and we'll try to work in your favorite guest and your burning questions. That's all we got for today. We'll see you next week or tomorrow.